Fast tracking reactions. Hear who you want to hear from extra quick. Is not going to be the theme tune for this. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and Patreon, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. Over there. No idea what that was. Bit of straight tone vibrato fading into aspirate tone back onto straight tone. I don't know, but it is what it is. So if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special roles on my Discord server, and you've also got access to patron exclusive Vocal 101 anatomy videos where you learn all about how to use your voice in the most effective manner. So consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. So as previously mentioned, one of my Patreon tiers allows you to fast track a reaction, and that is what is happening in this case. The wonderful Alicia has decided that we are going to be listening to 송소희 today. Now weirdly enough, there's actually somebody else that's fast tracked a 송소희 reaction, so that's coming soon. So I know a tiny bit about this singer, that she sings in a style called gugak. I don't know if I'm saying that properly. And it's a singing style that correlates with pansori, which is a style of Korean kind of emotional delivered music. So I have no idea what it's going to sound like, but I'm excited. So we're going to listen to Moon Halo today. Let's just go right ahead and do it. Such lovely gentle piano playing. I am already so relaxed. These beautiful flowing violin lines or string lines, whatever you want to say, because there's probably not just violins, let's be honest, cellos and all sorts, and that lovely, beautiful stripped back piano playing. It's just gorgeous. Sounds a bit like the music from Spirited Away. Anyway, let's keep going.
내일은 비가 오려나 탈물이 지는 거 보니 바람이 시리더라.
Oh, that is gorgeous! So the beginning of this song is very, very gentle. It's very introverted. It's quite vulnerable kind of sounding. She's achieving this in a few different ways. So one way she's achieving this is by giving this a much more aspirate sound. So there's more air passing through the vocal folds than normal. So you get this kind of breathy sound. It kind of sounds a bit wispy and kind of light and almost, yeah, misty. Wispy, misty, all these kind of descriptive words of lovely kind of dissipated sound. She's also adding in a lot of nasal twang. So that's where the velum will be sitting kind of closer to the back of her tongue. So you get that kind of sound. I'll put a little video or GIF, whatever you call it, here to show how the airflow reacts differently to where the velum position is. So what I think is happening here is that she's getting that kind of two-tone part. It's coming through the oral cavity and the nasal passage, and you get that kind of muffled, muted kind of sound. But it's so delicious when she combines that with that airy texture. And then the last thing she's doing is she's giving it quite a low larynx placement. Now her voice is quite light anyway, so because it's on kind of like a higher plane, you don't really notice that dip. But the drop in larynx gives it this richness of tone. So it gives her vocal a little bit more kind of weight, almost like a sleepy sound to it. It sounds like she's singing this like laying on her bed or something. It's just really, really gentle. You can tell that she is sitting in a lower larynx place because she keeps taking these deep breaths and starting from that point. Now, when you take in a deep breath, your larynx has a tendency to shoot down. So you just have that set in place before you even start. So little things that she's doing is kind of cluing me up to where her larynx is sitting at any one time. And then she's adding in little dynamics with straight tone into a vibrato kind of sound where she's tilting her thyroid cartilage. So she's just doing loads of stuff. Oh, hey, Toti. He decided to chime in. That means he agrees. Anyway, let's keep going.
내일은 비가 오겠소 달물이 저리지 노니
Oh, lovely.
달도 차가워 하늘을 품어 무리를 치노니
I like how she's forcing air through on some of these phrases. The ch sound, she's actually just like popping air through there. And there was also, I think it was ta, and it was just a T with a little burst of air. I don't know what word this corresponds to from Korean to English, but these little choices just to add in these more breathy kind of positions is just giving that song a really lovely dynamic. It's got really nice flow.
구름이 달을 감싸 안아주는 그 밤에 내 님은 어디 가셨는가 오지를 않네 시린 마음을 다독여주며 애써 외면해보는 그날
Okay, so her voice is completely changing. Something really caught my ear a second ago, and it was almost like she was letting almost like a bounce happen. So it sounded almost like it's almost a sound that makes your diaphragm feel like it's kind of bouncing. It's kind of glottal, little glottal stops, but tiny, tiny little ones. Glottal is just like a punch sound, so they're all glottal kind of sounds. That was just super interesting. I hope that comes back again because it wasn't too prominent, so I'd like to really kind of focus in on it. Another thing she's doing here though is as she comes up into the higher part of her register, she's really laying on the oral twang. That's where the epiglottis will kind of come over the folds and change the shape of the vocal tract so you get a much more pointed sound. Ah! And you twang on that, it sounds really thick and really heavy, and it's perceived as louder than it actually is. She's not having to put in a ton of effort to hit that. She's relying on twang to kind of push that sound forward. Oh, she's really, 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 really good.
그대를 그리지 않는 밤 울지 않는 밤이 올까요 전부 잊게 돼야 아무것도 찾지 않는 그런 내가 되는 밤
This is really interesting tone that's coming out of her. So it almost sounds like she's pushing that kind of twang over a break in her register and getting this hyper emotional kind of sound. Like that kind of sound, but obviously it sounds like it's really super controlled. I'd need to sit and listen to this for a long time to figure out exactly how this is done. But that's where that sound is putting me in mind of. It's like a tiny little break and she's leaning on it and kind of going, kind of like that. It's almost like there's kind of a little bit of arytenoid rattle in there as well, or kind of like really heavy forced vibrato that's super quick on top of that kind of crying whine sound. And it's just giving this really, really intense sound. It's amazing to listen to.
구름이 달을 감싸 안아주는 그 밤에 내 님은 어디 가셨는가 오지를 않네.
Can you hear that wobble as it comes down? Ah. It's pretty hard for me to replicate because it's such an unusual sound. I don't come across that too often. I'm assuming that this is one of the main qualities of Gugak singing that I'm being introduced to here. So it's very hard to pinpoint exactly what this feeling is. It's like instability with stability. It's two things at once and they're kind of at odds with one another, but somehow they're absolutely perfectly matched. It's almost like a kind of a yin-yang fighting forms type situation. It's just, yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher. I'm really loving it though.
어두운 마음은 다독여주며 애써 외면해보는 그날 그대를 그리지 않는 밤 울지 않는 밤이 올까요 전부 잊게 돼야 아무것도 찾지 않는 그런 내가 되는 밤
What? Okay, I'm gonna have to take a wee second here because she's starting to blow my mind with this stuff. So a couple of wee ins that I'm seeing here is that when she makes that really specific sound, that kind of shaky sound, her teeth are almost clenched the whole time. Ah, it's strange. I mean, I can't do it, so I'm trying my hardest. But yeah, there seems to be like a rigidity to this sound. So I'm thinking it's maybe like little sharp movements of her tongue. There's almost like a polyphonic element to this sound. Like if you were to really lean in on it and start moving things around, you'd start to hear the overtones or undertones start to pop out and move around. That's a conversation for a whole nother day because polyphonic singing is a massive thing in itself. But one of the things that really jumped out at me there was the way that there's a bit of a push and pull and then letting go of some of these sounds. So she's leaning into that twang, ah, ooh, and she's going into this like stiff fold position, which is kind of a falsetto, if you will. So it sounds almost like the sound's being released and it just kind of turns to nothing. It's, just gorgeous. That vibrato at the end there, when she tilted that thyroid cartilage and she started to slow it down a little bit. Just the control is unbelievable.
전부 잊게 돼야 아무것도 찾지 않는
Yeah, I'd put money on her tongue being in a strange position in her mouth, like behind her front teeth, maybe. Like there. I feel like I'm getting closer. So yeah, I feel like this is singing to hit a frequency that's really interesting. And then there's slight little tiny movements that make that sound kind of fly about really sharply and very, very quickly into the different places, different notes. But we're going to have to listen to some more of this.
그런 내가 되는
Oh. Oh. That was amazing. What a gorgeous way to end that song. Like it came back down into that very quiet, very vulnerable place. And that little breath. And then the vibrato slowed down at the end. It just grabbed me in places that I didn't realize I had places. There's a real beauty to that piece of music that's also very sad. It's got a lot of sorrow kind of element to it. I don't actually know what the song's about, but if you do, let me know down there and tell me if it is a sad song or if it's not and I've completely missed the ball, which I might have. I've done it before. Thank you so much, Alicia, for suggesting that. That is an amazing song. Absolute top tier. I loved it. So I hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? Oh, I have no idea. So thank you so much for joining me. And all I can say is goodbye. It's hard to slow your vibrato down like that. Anyway, bye.